Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for November 30th. Big goings on. Astrologically, there's all kinds of stuff. There's stuff today, and then there's stuff in the middle of the month, and the big stuff in the middle of the month. For those of you who maybe have not seen and are interested in the Soulprint Insights channel, I have been doing some channeling on the fifth dimension and the coming astrological Pluto-Saturn conjunction, and sort of what we're learning and how, how we're trying to process what's going forward and what the goal is. So there were 2 videos of that released last week, both on Tuesday and Thursday. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing another video on the difference between the 4th and the 5th dimension. We live in the 3rd. So I want to take a deeper dive into that so that we have some clarity on what that kind of looks like. So while I'm on the topic, I would like you to just double check that you are subscribed and the notification bell is hit. Funny stuff has been going on YouTube, with the subscribers, that kind of thing. And in fact, I actually discovered this morning that somehow my closed captioning, because I use that on when I'm watching, videos, it was turned off. So I don't know. I think it's maybe time for everybody to just double check what's going on with who they're subscribed to and whether or not they're getting those messages from YouTube. So just a heads up there. Thank you for all of the support, the love, the condolences, the heartwarming way that all of you reached out with regards to Crystal going into the light. We did that on Saturday. She transitioned very gently and very peacefully. And both of my daughters have asked me to express their gratitude and their thanks for your support and understanding. So I do that on their behalf. And just for those of you who are curious or want to know or have a thought, Crystal was actually, in her past life, she was a husky named Diesel. And she was in my children's life for a very brief time when they were very young. As in, like, my youngest daughter was just born. It was only a few months after that we lost Diesel. Then she came back as Crystal, the part Siamese cat. And we had her for 16 really wonderful and amazing years. And we're grateful for every single day of that. Now, she has already told us what to look for in terms of physical markings so that we recognize her when she comes back, and she's given us an approximate timeline. So rest assured that when she surfaces, I will reintroduce you to the soul that we now know or have known as Crystal. And before that, actually, we are awaiting the return of another cat that we had that we lost, I think, 3 Christmases ago. And we're anticipating her return. So it will continue. The crazy will continue in the sort of the animal house, right, that we live in. And the third thing, very quickly, is for those of you who watch my the videos that I've done on crystals and pendulums with Paul, who I affectionately refer to as White Dragon. He, this week, today, I believe, is sort of starting the journey of sort of a medical situation that he's in. He's going to, he'll be needing to do a procedure, we think. So for any of you who have enjoyed those videos, please, if you desire, please take a moment and just send Paul some healing and loving and supportive energy. He has an amazing, lovely wife, so maybe you could just send it to them and to the family. Thank you. Okay, let's get on with this. what can we expect? So I think it was this morning, I'm not sure. Trump was on Fox giving, what they referred to as an hour-long diatribe of lies. He really does seem to be King Lear, Mad King Lear. So I want to take what's going on this week. And Joe Biden, for those of you who may not have heard, has broken a bone in his foot. He was playing with his dog on Sunday, and I guess the dog must have won because somehow Joe's got a broken foot. So he's going to be in a boot cast or a walking cast, whatever those things are called. It appears that he's fine. Before I do the cards, I want to just use my pendulum very, very quickly. I have, I guess, 4 questions. So for those of you new to this, side to side is it's ready to talk. Please show me yes. Back and forth is yes, and no looks like what? And a circle is no. So here we go. Is Osloff likely to win the Senate seat in Georgia? How is that looking for him? Is he strong? Is he in a good position? So yeah, so that's like good news. Is Warnock likely to gain or win that Senate seat also in Georgia? And that's another yes. Are the Democrats going to control the Senate come January 20th, 2021? Yes. Is Mitch McConnell likely to step down or retire within the next 6 months? Yes. So some interesting goings on there. But for right now, let's just take a look at this week and see what we can anticipate, what we can expect, if there's going to be more 1 hour long Fox interviews where he just slips so far into kind of the crazy that, now he's saying that the FBI, and I think it was the CIA, but I could be wrong about that one, were in on his losing the election. I mean, he's just rounded a corner. So I want to take a look at that. So we're gonna do this like politics for the week. So here we go. Okay, come on down. I have a question. Okay, U.S. politics this week. U.S. politics this week. U.S. politics this week. Hold on here. I just gotta shift things around a wee little bit. Get my wand in here. I love my wand. It's always around these days. Okay. These cards are about Trump. So he's trapped, right? The stories in his mind get bigger and bigger and bigger because, one, a lot of the people closest to him don't want to face his anger, and so they're just encouraging him to believe that the election was stolen from him. Two, it feels like he's has a very shaky tether to reality these days. He really does want to live in a world where things are the way he would like them to be. I think I mentioned this in one of the previous readings, but one of the things that he's actually having the hardest time kind of wrapping his head around is the fact that the country's moved on. There's those, small little pockets of people who believe him and are listening to his Fox News interview, and they just let him spout. But for the most part, the country's moved on. The coronavirus is getting so big and so scary. You just had Thanksgiving there. Heaven only knows what your numbers are going to look like in 2 or 3 weeks. And so he doesn't like the current situation. So Trump is ignoring it and living in his own world, but the world has sort of moved on because they're starting to get calm, clear messages coming from Biden Harris. And so what you have there is almost like a reminder of what, quote, normal looks like. And there's a great many people who, even if they were Republican, even if they in some way or another supported Trump, if only just because he was a Republican. And that, of course, is different than the cult of Trump. But they're starting to realize that it's time to move away. The messages that are coming through from Biden and Harris are sort of comforting. They're clear, they're understandable, they're intelligent. As he starts naming all of these positions or the people to these important positions, there again is that sense of, oh my God, this is normal, I recognize this. And so the fact that Trump is sort of really being relegated to a past position is frankly so foreign to him. This is just not something he ever really had to experience in his life, because his whole life, one of two things: either people confirmed to him that whatever happened wasn't his fault, that he was still fabulous and great and magnificent, and two, because he was a private citizen, he really could resolve a lot of stuff with, settling a lawsuit or starting a lawsuit or threatening. And he's discovered that this doesn't actually work when you're president. And so the things, how he used to, or how he is used to coping with sort of loss or disappointment, and which of course he doesn't process one little bit. But how he's used to processing that is either to throw money at it, throw a lawsuit at it, because in both of those cases, he can control the narrative. He can spin it so he still comes out looking like a winner. He can't do that. It's not working for him. And the rants and raves are, again, they're really disconnected to reality. They become more outrageous. But what they are doing, make no mistake, is they are keeping that strong base tethered to him. And that's important to him because he needs their money. It's just as simple as that. There's no point sugarcoating it. That's what he needs. He wants their money. He wants the donations because he needs to accumulate as much as he can because of upcoming legal issues that he's aware he's going to have to deal with. So I think what you're going to get this week from Trump is sort of, it's like he's recognizing on some level that he's lost, but he believes to the core of his being it was stolen. So I think what you're going to get, it feels weird to me. It feels like a teeter-totter energy. It's sort of like he's going to be out there yelling and screaming and lying, and then he's going to go quiet. At least physically quiet, where you can't see him. He's not doing a lot of stuff. I mean, frankly, even on Fox, he was on the phone, right? But it doesn't feel like you're going to see a lot of him. And it feels like the hearing portion of the week is kind of like a teeter-totter. He'll go silent, then he'll rant and rave, he'll go silent, that kind of thing. So the energy feels very topsy-turvy around him. He is discovering that a lot of those people that he could count on, those partnerships that he had, those are coming to an end because he no longer holds the power. And reasonable people, and somehow I don't actually think that includes some senators. Reasonable people recognize he is not going to run again in 4 years, and they really are starting to break those connections and ties to him. Some, of course, are going to hang on till the bitter end, and that's their choice and prerogative. So, all right. So Biden and Harris are they are doing well. Within their campaign, not the campaign, within the transition, this move forward, they're getting their first, I think, presidential brief today. There is a strong team there, a really strong team, and he's building a stronger one. You know, this Three of Pentacles really does represent group works, group activities, and that's what he's doing. I mean, he is naming some amazing, amazing people to key positions. So, hang on. Skittles. What can I say? His surgery is tomorrow morning. And thank you again for all of those lovely good wishes and supportive thoughts and prayers, all of it. Thank you so much. We're very grateful in this house for the compassion that you are showing us and our critters. Okay, back to Biden. Okay, so he's very busy building a very, very strong team. And the team he's building is all about temperance. It's all about balance. It's all about getting the best, the most experienced in some cases, and people who, are servants of the people, who are dedicated and determined to try to correct some of the chaos and destruction that has gone on in the last 4 years. So there is, the energy is shifting and changing quite dramatically throughout this week and going forward. You're definitely going to see some interesting shifts, almost like with the balance of power. But Biden and Harris are really, really holding strong, and going forward, they're going to, do what needs to be done to get this thing moving. You can expect lots more communications from them. I know that there are a few sort of court cases outstanding, because Trump's still trying to win the election. None of it's going to go well for him, none of it. So for those of you who might be concerned about the Electoral College or him flipping votes, let it go. Biden's presidency is assured, and as sad as it is to say, it would appear that so is Trump's deterioration also assured. Yeah. So I think, as I said just a few minutes ago, there's people around him who, for their own reasons, whether they're hoping for a good job reference or they just don't want to listen to him scream and rant and rave, because there is a lot of that's been going on, make absolutely no mistake. They are just sort of encouraging him to sort of stay in this place. And I'm reading the Empress sort of reversed, if you will, because the place he's staying in has stagnated. There is no growth. There is no movement forward, but they are encouraging him to stay there. And then there are those who are trying to get him to move past it. And so he is perpetually getting these different messages, but at the core, it's all about him making money. That's what this is about, okay? This hanging on has nothing to do with I want to be your president. This has everything to do with filling up his coffers as much as he can, because he knows he's got some, kind of trouble ahead. So, that's kind of the energy around him. And so when he tries to think about it logically, he's like, okay, well, wait a minute, because the presidency is over. And by accepting the presidency or accepting the loss, even though I will never concede, there is a recognition that at that point, the fundraising has to stop, because there's nothing to fight. Because don't forget, the fundraising, the way he's doing it now, it's all about his legal defense to overturn the election that was stolen from him. So, but when he does the calculus, he's like, well, listen, I know I lost even though it was stolen from me. And nothing I'm trying to do to reverse that is working. I'm in a holding pattern or a stuck position. But the one thing I can do is keep on doing whatever it is I need to do to get that money coming to me. It is all about the coin, people, all of it. Yeah, he is just all about the money. Getting it, accumulating it, stealing it, conning people out of it. It doesn't matter. That's his agenda. That's what he does. Frankly, in some ways, that's really all he knows. So that's going to continue this week and next. I think as we get more towards the middle of the month, heading towards Christmas, I think you're going to see a slowing down of that or a bit of a withdrawal from that. So as a country, significant change is upon you. There has been a passing of the torch, if you will, as the emperor with no clothes has admitted his defeat and must soon remove himself from the premises. He is going to continue sort of this fighting, aggressive, crazy energy, and he's also going to continue to try to get his message out. But the more outrageous this claim becomes, frankly, the bigger the backlash he is going to experience, okay? And so at some point, even he's going to figure out that he probably should shut up. This isn't really helping him any. So you can look for, a tough week ahead for Trump, and frankly, an emotional one. That teeter-totter energy is going on, and going forward, you're going to see somebody very slowly and very reluctantly trying to come, I guess, to accept what is in fact reality, even though he doesn't sort of actually live in this reality. So, that's what this week is looking like going forward. I'm just trying to see if I'm just going to ask the universe if there's any messages to wrap this up that they might like to pass along to my viewers. So, Spirit, need to know politics this week. Need to know politics this week. Need to know politics this week. And for those of you wondering, I will be trying my level best to get a video done this week focused on Canada. Okay, come on down. So this is interesting. So it's talking about sort of the things that you're being asked to remember, focus on, etc. as you move forward. This feels sort of like not only this week, but kind of as you're going through December. So what they're saying is as a whole, sacrifices that have been made because of the Trump presidency, the full implication and ramifications of that is something, frankly, you are going to be trying to recover from for years, because it wasn't just sacrifice of the American reputation. It wasn't just, sacrifice of the, of allies who just were in a position where they couldn't help you at all, or very little. It's about sacrifices to the actual people. It's about sacrifices to the psyche of the country. Some of your biggest institutions, the post office, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Justice, Treasury Department, have really, really been abused, have really, really had their reputations unbelievably tarnished. And that is going to take a while to rebuild. You're also going to be dealing with those families at the border and the ramifications of what they have been through, that movement forward, trying to course correct some of that stuff. That's going to be a really big job. And of course, the loss of human life, and the loss of quality of life. Frankly, a significant amount of it can be laid at the doorstep of Trump. He didn't create the virus, and in his own way, he really didn't cause it to jump across the ocean. But everything that happened on American soil in the last year lays at his feet. And at some point, you're going to actually get accurate numbers because you're not getting them now. But at some point, you're going to. And it feels like you need to be prepared for the fact that those numbers are a lot bigger than you've been hearing about. And so, as much as there is a sense of celebration and happiness because a decision was made, and it's causing the end of a 4-year cycle, and it's creating a new vision going forward. There is also going to be a lot of frustration, anger. There's going to be a sense of, listen up, you need to fix this faster. You need to correct this. We need to punish everybody. You're being asked to just keep your emotions sort of in moderation, because there's so much to fix that it really is going forward going to take a while, honestly, just to even get an actual handle on it. But the universe wants you to know this. Listen, look at these cards. You've made a decision. There's a lot of happiness about it. There's a sense of strength coming back to the country, and the country as a whole is moving out of a very troubled time, very troubled waters, and moving into something that feels energetically far more healing. So, one of the other things I think that has been learned, and honestly, I think some of the lessons that were learned by the United States, frankly, had a bit of a global impact. Because one of the things that we discovered, especially by watching what was going on in the United States, is that you have to hang on to your rights as voters. You have to hang on to your rights as citizens. Because when you don't hold tight to the power that you have as a voter, when you don't pay attention to what it is the government is doing, when you relinquish that, you end up, frankly, with broken hearts because you're not getting the message, you're not getting the information, you're not hearing the actual truth because life is busy and it gets in the way. And listen, I'm not saying anybody should be a political junkie, okay, because it's kind of exhausting, I have to tell you. But it does mean that going forward, there is the hope that you will have learned exactly how easily a country can be lost, how easily it can be destroyed, and ensure that going forward you are encouraging your government members, local, state, and federal, to be more transparent so that those of you who are kind of now awakened to the dangers can find, can stay more informed more easily. There's, you've got this balance of power sort of returning because everything was really lopsided for a really long time, because the people who were being elected didn't really have to answer to the very people who voted for them. It had just become acceptable to, frankly, just only do the party line and not really listen to anything your own voters were saying, well, the way that is corrected is that voters continue to hold on to that power. They don't give it away. They realize the absolute power of it. And finally, they want you to understand that when it comes to Donald Trump, when it comes to his family, when it comes to the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams and the Mnuchins and the Pompeos, all of them, they want you to understand, yes, you know what? There is going to be ramification that we're going to see here on the earth, but they want you to know that justice comes not only to the earth plane for those who behave recklessly and foolishly and without a sense of responsibility, just their own selfish purposes. Justice comes to them, but it comes not only on this plane, but it comes during their life reviews. It comes in lives going forward. It comes in what they are going to need to do between lifetimes. So they just want to sort of reassure you, listen, you know, it feels like nobody's going to get everything they want. But the universe wants you to understand that ultimately, justice is served. It always is. And it might take time. It might take multiple lifetimes. Some you will see, some you'll never know about. But you're just being offered the reassurance that it will come to pass. And for that, we should all just be grateful. Okay. Again, thank you for all of your support, for me, my family, for the channel, the likes, the thumbs up, the subscribes. It's all amazing and wonderful, and I'm very, very grateful. And I will see you again this week. And until then, take care and be well. Bye for now. Sorry, I can't get this thing to stop.